latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Aisin Sai in tonight's game plan. We'll catch up with the PBA Governors Cup defending champs Barangay Ginebra as they kick off their campaign in the new conference with a big win.
We'll also find out how collegiate sports will be affected by the resumption of athletic training mandated by CHED and the DOH. And we'll break down some bright spots for Philippine Azkals in the ongoing AFF Suzuki Cup. Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. PBA action is back in full swing, and among the big winners of the opening week were the defending champs of the Governor's Cup, Barangay Ginebra. Barangay Ginebra edged out the Alaska Aces 80-77. Justin Brownlee triumphant return for the import, 28 points, 10 rebounds, and Japet Aguilar with a key contribution as well, 11 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Joining us now to talk about their season opener as well as their goal for this conference, Barangay Ginebra assistant coach Olsen Aracela. We were supposed to have Justin Brownlee on also, but then that guy is just super busy getting better for Ginebra, I think, Coach Olsen. But Coach Olsen, welcome to the show.
Yes, thank you for having me. Hindi ako busy para sa inyo.
Oh, yan yung gusto ko sa iyo Coach. At alam mo, Coach, just in all fairness, we have you here because we like you better than my dad, apparently. So, yeah. Pero Coach Olsen, that win against Alaska, I just realized, and actually I was talking about this with my dad, that this is the first win of Barangay Ginebra in almost 2 or 3 months, going all the way back to the bubble. In fact, he did mention that during mga tune-up games ninyo, you didn't actually get the results that you wanted. So, how did it feel to actually get a win when it mattered?
Yeah, you're right, Pao. We've been struggling ever since the bubble, and Coach Tim pointed that out during our practices. Sabi mo nga, even during our tune-ups, talo rin kami, no? But yeah, when it mattered most, yun ang importante, panalo kami. And a big factor in that game, of course, is Justin Brownlee. It's nice to have him back. Struggle pa rin kami offensively, but it's nice to have Justin there, scoring 28 points for us.
Yes. Coach Olsen, speaking about Justin Brownlee, we heard na isang linggo lang yung preparasyon niya, but it doesn't seem like it, scoring a double-double. How is adjustment to the team?
Yes, Mai. We'll see Justin kasi one of the reasons why we like Justin is, well, of course, familiarity. He's such a nice person. Not to mention, napakagaling na basketball player. But he's been here before. He's been here every year. So, yung familiarity is there. So, hindi masyado naging problema yung adjustment for him. And not to mention, he's in shape. Pagdating niya, well, nagulat nga kami. Normally, it takes time for him to get in shape. But when they measured his body fat, he's at 9% lang. And it's quite surprising. But it showed naman during the game. Napakaganda ng laro niya. And he played, I think, over 40 minutes for his first game. Matagal na yun for Justin.
Absolutely. Coach Ols, he actually said that coming back to Ginebra is a dream for him, a dream come true for him. Pero sa palagay ko for you and the coaching staff, it's a dream come true for him come back to all of you here during the Governor's Cup.
Oh yes, every time nandyan si Justin, parang there's a sense of, you feel confident, especially the first time he practiced with us this year. May mga times kasi na we were expecting him to come in early, but for some reason na late siya dumating. But in fact, one of the last imports to arrive si Justin. But once he got here, parang confident na. Not just the coaching staff, but his teammates. Medyo maganda na agad yung practice namin. And Justin just brings that. He elevates everyone's game, and it showed yesterday in the game.
Yes, Coach Olsen, speaking about your other team members, we heard that Jared Dillinger will not be able to play due to a knee injury, and that Aljon Mariano, who just recovered from his recent one, is starting to do the drills. What do you think is the impact for this change?
Well, see, JD, Jared, too bad. He's been playing really well in practice.
Yes.
In fact, na-injure siya because of a dunk during practice. That's how fit he was. Normal lahat, he made that dunk, pero nung nag-landing siya, medyo awkward, and then that was it. He needs surgery para gumaling siya. But he'll be out for the conference. But we wish him well. But luckily we have Aljon coming back, and Mark Tagiwa also coming back. Mas mauna yata si Mark because si Mark is a calf strain lang kanya. But si Aljon will take a couple of more weeks before he can come back. But si Aljon is Mark is a veteran na, so we know what he can contribute. And Aljon naman is very versatile. So siguro mapupunan niya kahit paano yung mawawala ni JD for our team.
Coach Ols, Barangay Ginebra right now playing in a way that's a bit different. Your offense has changed a bit. The way you play defense has changed a bit. In fact, I think it was fairly obvious because of the fact that you wanted to do a lot better than what happened in the last conference. Can you talk a bit about yung progress nyo doon and your prospects for the team in your next coming games?
Well, yeah, talking about our system, because of our performance last bubble, we needed the change. That's why we have a new system now, offensively and defensively also. So it's gonna take a while before we get used to our new system. But everyone's been really patient, learning our system, and slowly we'll get back to our peak form. Right now, that was just our first game, so abangan pa ng mga fans na we'll see a better Ginebra team slowly as we progress in this tournament.
And you can expect the fans to be very excited for that. I'm sure you're all excited for the return of fans as well. The Big Dome coming right up next week. And I cannot wait to hear the chants of Ginebra again, Coach. And thank you very much for joining us here again. Thank you for not being busy for us. Malaking bagay yun. Oo. And then,
Yes.
of course, if you want to listen on to the next segments, do stay put kasi this might also be for you, Coach. But thank you very much for joining us here tonight.
Yes. Thank you for having me.
Yes, after the break. Collegiate athletes are back in training. We'll talk to UAAP Executive Director Atty. Rebo Saguisag when the game returns. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the game. Christmas is definitely here, and the biggest present we might be getting is the return of collegiate sports next year. This after the Commission on Higher Education and the Department of Health gave the go signal for the resumption of collegiate athletic training. Let's find out more in this report from our very own Paulo De Rosario.
Collegiate sports fans can now rejoice. We are one step closer to the resumption of college sports. This after the signing of a memorandum by the DOH, CHED, the UAAP, and the NCAA to allow athletes to finally return to training under certain conditions. After months without face-to-face training, college athletes can finally disconnect from Zoom calls and work out with their teammates. Key stakeholders in college sports, such as the major collegiate athletic bodies, the UAAP and the NCAA, were present for the signing of a memorandum for the resumption of collegiate athletic training. According to DOH Secretary Francisco Duque, this development will not only support physical and mental health for the athletes, but help deal with any anxiety and depression brought about by the pandemic.
This JMC will support the physical and mental stability of student athletes who participate in games and trainings, and is a vital strategy to prevent and alleviate any anxiety or depression caused by the impact of this pandemic.
CHED Chairman Popoy De Vera says training guidelines will generally follow those of face-to-face classes. De Vera adds, teams may start training as early as tomorrow.
Now that the element of vaccination is there and the safety of the students, the risk level has been lowered. I think this is the reason why the schools are very enthusiastic to do it now. So they can start tomorrow.
The UAAP and the NCAA welcomed the development and each received a certificate of authority to begin training. As an added layer of caution, both leagues have expressed a desire to go beyond the minimum requirements set by the DOH and CHED to keep their athletes safe.
Yes, there are minimal requirements with this joint memorandum circular. However, the UAAP intends to impose standards higher than those imposed by yung minimum public health standards natin para bubble talaga.
Both the UAAP and the NCAA say that they target a March 2022 return. Now, whether or not there will be fans there is a totally different question. Paulo De Rosario, we are One News.
Now to talk us more about the much-awaited return of the UAAP, joining us live tonight is the league's Executive Director, Atty. Rebo Saguisag. Atty. Rebo, welcome to the game. Kamusta kayo?
Attorney, nakamute ka yata.
Sorry, nakamusta ko. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Thank you. Good evening to everyone. Yeah.
Coach, alam mo talagang let's go start the discussion. Sobrang excited ng fans and of course the athletes who can't wait to get their hands on the ball again. Sino ang mga sports na babalik? Is this a full run of UAAP or is this a pilot testing?
Okay, ideally, of course, we want to, we always want for equality, for everyone to be back, no? However, syempre, when you talk of a bubble, talagang medyo malilimitahan yung student athletes that we can bring inside the campuses. Otherwise, hindi na rin siya ganun ka-bubble, no? In this case, we are targeting initially the priority sports, which are basketball, men's basketball, women's volleyball, and cheer dance, no? And then hopefully the other, if conditions continue to improve, then we are open to, we're actually preparing for other scenarios, no? But for now, at the very least, we have to, in whatever shape or form, hopefully pull off the men's basketball, women's volleyball, and cheer dance competitions.
Attorney, sa sobrang excited ni Ai kanina, she accidentally called you coach eh. Pero alam mo, lead us through this. Oo, pero attorney, lead us through this. So we're now looking at you mentioned it a while ago, yung mga minimum sports to actually participate in or at least compete in terms of the UAAP having a season. But then you also mentioned in the interview that we conducted a while ago that there are minimum restrictions imposed by the DOH and CHED, but then you want to go beyond that. Can you explain a bit more about yung mga proseso na yan for the UAAP schools?
Well, yes, at least for the UAAP, we're looking at, we want everyone to be vaccinated and we're looking at a full bubble for now, at least for training. No? And tinanong naman namin, of course, it's gonna be a little bit costly. but the schools are open really to bear the cost just to make sure na everybody is safe, no? So then we have, again, no, we have vaccination, full bubble, and with that, we have to have continuous or multiple testing, no? Antigen, and then PCR also. So these are the things na hindi naman ini-impose ng Joint Memorandum Circular, but self-imposed namin ito from the UAP as agreed by all of the 8 member universities.
Attorney, how different are you planning to do this compared to the usual sports bubble setups? And do the schools have their own format, Attorney?
We're talking about training, Training
Yes.
muna.
Yes.
Yeah, well, how different is it? Well, we came out with our uniform protocols, which has to be observed by the each of the member schools. Now, again, I mentioned mas stricto ng konti yung sa UAP as compared to the Joint Memorandum Circular. But if each of the member schools even want to impose even stricter standards, mas maganda pa kung gusto talaga nila purely PCR test, then we will allow them for as long as they meet the UAP minimum standards naman. Yun naman ang sa amin.
Attorney, sabi ni Sec Popoy that starting tomorrow, pwede na magsimula. But then I don't know if the schools will actually be starting tomorrow. Do you have the schools given yung mga target dates na when they can start training, when they will start training? And of course, as we mentioned in the report a while ago, March is yung target date ng UAAP. Is that still on the go in terms of yung return to competition?
As far as I know, di ba, we were really anticipating this. As mentioned kanina, I was part din kasi ng technical working group who prepared the Joint Memorandum Circular. So as we go along, we were already preparing and again, even imposing more stringent standards. So talagang once given the go-ahead, talagang ready na ang mga schools namin. Now, the one thing that complicates probably is ano na ba bukas, December 14 or 15. So Christmas is around the corner. So yan ngayon yung dilemma. While they may be, the schools may be physically prepared to conduct the bubble training, ang problema kasi nito is will they stop when Christmas when comes around? So parang baka some schools maybe while prepared are considering resetting their start by next year na. So nasa kanila na yan. The only problem is of course pag January na, we're talking about 60 days of training before competition. So that may also play a factor sa kanilang decision making. But for now, we are still looking at March 5, first week, maybe second week of March at the latest to begin for the men's basketball.
Exciting times, Attorney. We're
Super.
incredibly excited for it. The student athletes are, I'm sure, and all the fans are definitely. Thank you very much for all your time. Please get some rest. I know you had a lot of meetings since this morning. We really appreciate everything you've done.
Yeah, thank you so much. And just like Olsen Rosella, hindi ako busy para sa inyo.
Yon! Yan gusto ko. All right, Attorney. Salamat.
Thank you. Good night.
When we return, we'll break down some bright spots for Philippine Azkals in the ongoing AFF Suzuki Cup. Stay tuned. You're watching the game. Back, you're watching the game. I'm Pablo Devisario. Let's take a look at how our Philippine Azkals are currently doing in the AFF Suzuki Cup. After dropping their first match against Singapore, our national team dominated Timor-Leste with a final score of 7-0 with 7 different goal scorers. Now, let's continue to stay tuned for our Philippine Azkals, who will be facing Thailand tomorrow and Myanmar on December 18. All games being held in Singapore. Here to help us break down the performance of our men's football team so far is none other than the Azkals media officer. Pero balita ko, lead scout daw siya dito eh. Si Delph Tupa. Si Delph, how are you doing?
I'm good, pal. Thank you for having me. Azkals just about to start training in a bit, so kailangan ko na magtrabaho. Tapusin ko muna to.
Yeah, kasi feeling ko you're gonna end up doing the drills with them also and show them how it's done. But Ai is here going to ask all the questions. I'll be here to help and dive into all of the answers here. Ai, let's go.
So, Delph, you mentioned bright spots that the Azkals possess that, hopefully can lead them to a crown. And the first one is familiarity with teammates and opponents. What can you say about this?
Well, I'm referring to this team that that's playing together now for quite some time. There may be a lot of new faces here, but as far as familiarity is concerned, we know that the likes of Stefan Schrock, Martin Stoible have actually played for quite some time together. Patrick Reichert. So the veteran core of this team has been together for a while. As far as opponents are concerned, the fact that they're playing in some of the best leagues, one of the best leagues in Southeast Asia, like the Thai League, is very important, especially for tomorrow's match against Thailand. Martin Stoible mentioned earlier that the Thais know them very well, but there's no fear factor here because the Azkals also know the Thai players very well. So there's a lot of respect there, but at the same time, it could also work to the Azkals' advantage, their knowledge of the opposition.
Absolutely. I have nothing else to add to that. He did a great job at discussing all of that. Let's move on to the next point.
Yes, and secondly, of course, they have high morale and confidence given their big win over Timor-Leste, right?
Absolutely. Delph, you were talking about this actually last night, about the morale of the team. And do you think that the result last night added to yung belief ng Azkals going into this Thailand game?
Yeah, definitely. And this team, I've been covering this team for quite some time. Now they're media officer, and I know the standards they set for themselves. And that Timor game, they felt they could have scored more, but I thought it was very important just because of the result of that Singapore match. Just in case this tournament goes down to goal difference, that was important. But at the same time, it was really regaining that identity, that winning feeling for the Azkals, especially here in such a short tournament. And especially with the conditions here, playing in the bubble, playing every 3 days, and of course the pressure that comes with with playing this type of competition, a very prestigious one.
Yes. And thirdly, Delph, you talked about improved fitness levels. Given that it is a pandemic setup, is it the intensity, not the longevity of the training that improved their fitness level?
Well, the concern really going into here was, did the Azkals have enough training time together? Because the Philippines did not have a really full scheduled league for this year, and they only held the Copa for like 2 weeks, last November, and some of these players that we have here have not played a game since June and July, so. It was going to be very, very difficult to get that sharpness and to get that fitness level back. But I thought that, from the time that we arrived here last December 1 up to now, which is now around December 13, I think the fitness level has really improved. The players look sharper now. I mean, it's just a shame that we were able to play Singapore first. Because I felt that if we could have played them further down the road, we would have stand a better chance of beating them. But it is what it is. But right now, I think the players have recovered, and they have adapted to the pace of the game and intensity of the game. So we're looking forward to this Thailand match tomorrow.
Absolutely. For more in-depth previews of the Thailand game against the Azkals, which I'm sure is really the talk of the town for all the Philippine football fans here at home. You can check out Delph Tupas's live stream. That's right, with the AFF Suzuki Cup. I'm promoting that because I might guest later for that. I don't know, Delph, so let's see. But anyway, yes, it will be a tough matchup for Thailand. against Thailand, rather. And, Sadel, thank you very much for all of the insight you're giving us here.
Yeah, Paul, I can't wait for later when you join the live stream. But also, I can't wait for tomorrow's match.
Absolutely.
A lot is at stake, and you have to remember we have not beaten Thailand in this competition. So
Yeah.
tomorrow might be the day. Hopefully, tomorrow might be the day.
Hopefully, tomorrow might be historic for the Azkals. Again, Sadel, thank you very much. Enjoy your time there in Singapore.
Thank you, Ai. Thank you, Paolo.
Meanwhile, the MVP group of companies, together with its partners, are in unity in spreading joy and hope this holiday season. And you can be part of this remarkable movement. Our hardworking teachers and students from the Pinagtungulan Elementary School received a holiday helping hand. Let's watch this.
Ang pag-aaral po ng bawat bata sa panahon ng pandemic ay napaka-challenging. Hindi lang po sa panahon ng sa part ng mga bata, kundi rin po sa part ng mga guro. Dahil kailangan po nating masigurado na ang edukasyon ay mararating ang bawat batang Polonenyos.
Ako po ay solong ama na ang aking asawa po ay nasa abroad noong dumating po ang ating pandemya. Ang aking pong mga anak ay kaliliitan. Talagang ako lang po ang solong nag-aalaga at nag-aalam sa kanila.
Isa ang pinagtungkulan sa maraming OFW na kababayan namin na maraming kamag-anak na nandito. At ang isa sa inaangal nila ay ang mahinang signal ng Wi-Fi dito. So with that, ginawa namin siyang CSR, Pinagtungkulan Elementary School, para sa mga kabataan na pumapasok dito, sa mga teachers, sa mga kamag-anak nila, at para rin makausap nila ang mga kamag-anak nila na nasa abroad.
Ngayon, sa pagbibigay ng pocket Wi-Fi, we aim that sana makatulong ito to make remote learning and teaching more accessible and more convenient for our students and their teachers. We hope na through this, ang connection nila sa kanilang mga bahay ay mag-improve at mapadali ang edukasyon ngayong panahong may COVID tayo.
We are so blessed po kasi po nakarating po kayo dito sa Pinagtungulan Elementary School. And ang pagpili niyo po sa amin ay malaki po ang naitutulong.
Taos-puso po kaming nagpapasalamat sa Pinagtungkulan Elementary School dahil in-accommodate po nila ang aming donation.
Dito sa Pinagtungulan Elementary School, tuloy pa rin ang Pasko. Maligayang Bayanihan Pilipino!
Let's do our part and spread the Christmas cheer to our fellow kababayans. You may send your donations to the accounts flashed on your screen or contact us on the following details. Tara na sa isang maligayang bayanihan Pilipino.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Ai Tunsay.
I'm Paulo de Rosario. This has been The Game.